Hi everyone, my name is Camille Adams and I am one of our registered dietitians here for the YMCA of Greater Grand Rapids. I'm so excited to film our Cook It Up recipes. Cook It Up is a program that we sponsor here at the YMCA. We go into elementary and middle schools all around Grand Rapids and we bring fresh produce and funky recipes that these kids may have never tried to those schools and those kids. We have instructors that go into our schools and they teach, just like you will see me teaching here, how to make functional recipes that will last for life. We also try to put a healthy twist on everything that we do, and I'm super excited to be here today. Today, we're cooking it up with some Vietnamese spring rolls. This recipe is delicious, healthy, bright, colorful, and it is also vegan and allergen-free, which is great concerning any health issues that any of the kids might have. This recipe is a little bit on the more medium to advanced side, but it'll be worth it in the end. These are our beautiful ingredients that we're gonna have in our spring rolls right in front of us. And I'm going to start with our tofu here on our griddle, and then we'll get into chopping all of the produce. Okay, so we can set these aside for now, but we will need our carrots, our cabbage, and our cucumber very soon. So we're going to use some beautiful extra firm tofu that I have sitting out right here. I already have half a block prepared. If you have tofu that you have taken right out of the box, it may be helpful to squeeze out the excess water with a paper towel. I highly encourage it. So we're going to go in and start cutting it. I like to cut my tofu in big square shapes like this, and then we will do little strips from then on. After you cut your tofu, you can start heating up your skillet, and we're gonna start that with some sesame oil and some medium heat. Tofu, for those who have never used it, is a soy-based protein. It's very popular globally at this point, but its origins start in Asia. It's great if somebody does not have any issues with soy, or if somebody does not eat meat. Myself, I am vegan, and I love putting tofu into my diet every single day. It's protein dense, it's healthy, and it's great to switch up if you have never tried plant-based recipes before. So all of our strips are cut, and now we're gonna go ahead and go to our griddle. This is a very fancy induction cooking top, so it heats up super quick. So we're going to start it, and then I'm going to put our skillet on medium, which is around 275 degrees. I'm going to use our sesame oil, and I'm going to pour in about 2 tablespoons. I can already smell the sesame oil, and it smells so good and toasty. It's made out of ground sesame seeds, similar to tahini, but this is obviously in an oil and not a paste. It's great to add to sauces. As you'll see, we'll add it to our sauce later. So I'm gonna let this heat up for just another minute, and then we'll put our tofu in. So now that our oil feels ready, you can put your hand over the skillet. It was done just like that. Isn't technology amazing? I smell it, everyone smells it, it smells amazing. So let's start by taking our tongs out and placing our tofu very gently into the pan. Tofu is very tricky. It's beautiful, but it can fall apart on you very easily. So do your best to get everything in the pan. And if it gets a little bit too hot, you can always turn it down a little bit. Make sure to try to put them in an even layer, separate from each other. And the oil may pop a little bit. That's okay. We turned it down. Sometimes you can move it around a little bit to make sure everything's cooking. And add in a couple more if you have room. It smells so good already. I already want to eat it. So I am going to take the excess tofu away, and then while it's cooking, we can start on chopping our produce. Great, now it is time to flip. They can cook very, very quickly, so keep your eye on them. And as you see, when I turn it around, it's a beautiful, crispy underbelly there on the tofu. Oh, it looks so good. I'm already excited. Again, just flipping it to cook really well on both sides. We're not necessarily frying as in deep frying our tofu, but we just want to get a nice crisp on the outside. And sometimes they will break. It's okay. We're going to roll it up, so it doesn't even matter. And sometimes it may help to turn your heat down a little bit while you flip to avoid the oil popping at you. Feel free to do so. As I said, they cook pretty quickly, so this may be good. Wow, I'm so happy. They look like beautiful little fries almost, or pieces of mozzarella cheese. So now what I am going to do before I turn the heat back up is add just a little bit of soy sauce to have them soak in some more of that flavor. So I am going to add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. You can always use low sodium soy sauce as well, if that is something that you are concerned about. It's going to add a beautiful color. It may not quite mix with the oil, but it's going to coat the tofu and give it really great flavor. Okay, let's turn our heat back up and sear this other side. Now we are ready to chop all of our beautiful produce that's really going to make these spring rolls pop right in your face, just like that oil did. So the first thing we're going to start with is some beautiful red cabbage. This is a lot of cabbage, so we're going to cut a chunk that we need and then kind of put the rest away. So what I like to do with the cabbage is hold it. I'm going to cut off the top. This may take longer if you have a smaller knife, but this would be a great step for you as the instructor to do, and then the next step, have the children do it alongside. And then I'm going to cut this head in half again. So I'm really just going to use about a quarter or less. Now we can go in with our grater, which is really going to help us. Again, we can cut the cabbage with a knife, but why not make everything a little more simple? So I'm going to peel off these top leaves, put them to the side, and then I am going to use this long side and grate my cabbage. I'm going to hold it like this and then just go down just like this. It may be a little hard at first to kind of grate, but again, we don't need that much. So hopefully it'll just cut right through. Takes a little bit of a shimmy to get it through the grater. As you can see, it makes nice strips, which is really efficient, and it may be a little bit safer. And depending on how many spring rolls you make, you may need to grate the whole head of cabbage or just a little bit. I think that's a great amount, so we're just gonna go with that. And I'm gonna put this right on my bowl here and see how it grates it into some really nice, beautiful strip shapes. That's really gonna help us when we go to roll up this spring roll. We're gonna put the rest on the plate, and now we're gonna go right in for our carrot, and we're going to just basically do the same thing. Here is our beautiful carrot that we've already rinsed and peeled. So I'm going to cut the bottom and the top off of the carrot. Set them aside. I'm going to take the round edge of the carrot, just like this, and grate it similarly. If this side is not working by chance, you can always try to go through with this side as well. It may be a little more efficient for your time. It'll produce a little bit of a smaller shape, but it's still great. Make sure to have a very firm grip. As you can see, I'm holding it for dear life, this carrot, but you don't want it to slip out of your hands. Look at that. It's like a time machine, but for food. So we're gonna take the carrot and we're gonna set it right next to the cabbage. Your cutting board may get a little bit messy, but that is always okay. Your produce is the real star of the show. Here we have our cucumber. I'm gonna use about half of a cucumber to start with. I'm gonna cut off the end, because we don't need that. And then this is gonna really help us practice our knife skills. So you wanna cut down the middle into 2 halves. And then from there, I like to cut long strips because our spring rolls, kind of similar to our tofu, are gonna be in a horizontal shape. So you wanna cut the cucumber to resemble that. Cucumbers are so good for you. They have tons of fiber. And then similarly, again, just like for this one, cut nice and thin strips. This is also great with a small knife as well. Really quick. And then it is that easy. Again, this recipe does have a lot of cutting involved, but it is worth it. Next thing is our lettuce, which I have pre-washed and dried. The lettuce is going to add a nice pop of green color, some nice crunch to it, and this is something that you can just roughly chop. Lettuce. It's so funny because sometimes people think lettuce doesn't do anything for you, but lettuce is actually packed with tons of vitamins and minerals, just like other greens. So don't forget the lettuce. You see I have very long strips here. You can leave it like that, but I'm just gonna cut it in half one more time. Put it on the plate. Look how beautiful this is getting already. It is absolutely gorgeous. These are rainbow spring rolls, rainbow. 2 last ingredients and then we can really start forming these spring rolls. We're going to use some thin rice noodles. These can be optional if you can't find thin rice noodles, but again, it's a traditional part of the recipe. I've already soaked them and they look absolutely beautiful in this nice clear bowl here. Awesome, and so what I'm going to do is just take out probably around a handful, a similar amount to this, and just give it about 1 or 2 rough chops. These add a nice filler to our spring roll, and these are also gluten-free, which is great if you have a gluten intolerance or allergy. Yay! Last step. Now we need some bright and some beautiful cilantro. I could smell cilantro all day. It is so yummy, and so I'm going to just take a bunch of leaves from here. And because I want it to taste super, super flavorful, I'm just gonna roughly chop it. I want big pieces of cilantro in this spring roll. And there we go, just like that. I promise it didn't take too long. A labor of love is what my grandma would call it. We have this beautiful array of toppings and fillings for our spring rolls, and now we can go to rolling them up. Now we're to the final part, the end product. This is the time where we have to work really fast, especially once we get this rice paper soaked to put it all together. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. You just need a larger bowl of warm water. These are the brand of rice paper that we're using. You can go to your local Asian Mart or usually any large grocery store will have it. So you'd like to take a sheet of rice paper, dunk it in the water. It probably takes about 10 seconds-ish to become very pliable. It's really fun to get in there with your hands. This is also a great job for kids to do because they get to work with their hands. And you'll notice the texture will go kind of from a stiff piece of paper to a little bit squishy. I can already feel it right now. I like to take it out of the water just a little bit early so I have time to work with it. But everybody's different. I just take a long time to roll, so that's why I want to get it out a little bit early. So when I start to feel the sides kind of go in, that's when I know that I think we are ready. So here is the paper. I am going to put my bowl back. And this is the time where we have to be a little bit hasty. So I spread it out like this on my cutting board. We gotta be quick because it'll stick to surfaces. So here we go. So let's start. We're going to put in 2 pieces of our beautiful tofu for some great protein in there. And again, I'm just showing you how I would do it. However you want to do it is up to you. It's your baby, it's your burrito, it's your magic. I'm gonna do a piece of cucumber. I'm gonna go in with some beautiful red cabbage. Oh my gosh, it already looks so good. I'm so excited. My happy food dance. Gonna go in with some lettuce. A little bit more lettuce, the great crunch in there. We're gonna go in with some thin rice noodles, probably about this much. Some carrots. Can you all see the rainbow building? We are almost there, everybody. And then finally, that really key secret ingredient, our cilantro at the end. Definitely want to make sure to get that in there. And now we are ready to roll. So what I like to do is I like to roll one side up, roll the other side up. I just did the left, now I'm doing the right. Grab the bottom, and again, be very careful. It can tear very quickly. I like to roll the whole spring roll under this bottom wrap, kind of seal it down. Roll up to the top. Again, be very careful. We don't want it to stick too much. And yay! Little baby spring roll burrito is made. Look at this. This is so beautiful. You can see all the beautiful colors and the produce that we used. This is also a great recipe if you can have shrimp in there as well. I just did tofu if anyone has a seafood allergy. And then just repeat as many times as you want. We're also gonna make a really fun dipping sauce for this after I make a few more spring rolls. Now we've made our beautiful spring rolls just like how you wanted them. And so let's finish it off by making a super yummy, allergen-free peanut sauce. I do it in quotes because a lot of kids cannot have peanuts in school, so we're gonna be utilizing sun butter for this, but it's still gonna taste just as delicious. This sauce is super easy to put together. The only thing that you'll have to cut is just mince a little bit of garlic. Again, get ready for the bang. When it comes to crushing our garlic, it's a great way to start it so you don't have to chop it. So you put your knife on the garlic, use the palm of your hand, and bang! Just like that, and it's gonna come out crushed, which is gonna help you chop it very, very well. This is great to help learn some knife skills. So I chop it as small as I can, and then I go back over it again and chop it even smaller. Garlic is so healthy for you. It's great. It adds a really great flavor, and it's definitely a staple in Asian cuisine. And I'm sure after chopping all that produce, I know y'all are done using the knife. But just this last thing, and I promise, again, if you don't have access to fresh garlic, feel free to use jarred garlic, or even in this sauce recipe, you could probably get away with using some garlic powder. So this is the bowl we're gonna put our sauce in, and I'm gonna add my minced garlic right to that. It already smells good. Plus those spring rolls are sitting right there looking at me. They're saying, eat me, eat me, I'm coming. Okay, great, minced garlic in the bowl. And then a lot of these ingredients we bought at our local Meijer, so no need to go to your Asian Mart. So we're gonna start with is 2 tablespoons of soy sauce right into the same bowl as our minced garlic. Sometimes it takes a little bit to drip out, but patience is key. If you'd like a little less sodium, you can always use a reduced sodium soy sauce. Great. Now we are going to add 2 tablespoons of honey. This will give a really nice sweetness to our sauce. We are also going to be using a chili sauce in that it's already sweetened. So I'm gonna use a little bit less of our sweetened chili sauce, but if you have a spicy chili sauce, definitely use the full amount. Great, there is our honey. We're also going to use 1 tablespoon of some rice vinegar. Again, it's so nice because in the recipe you can just use the tablespoon again and again and again. This is very fragrant. We're also going to be using about a teaspoon of our sweet chili sauce. Again, if you have a spicier sauce, feel free to use more, but since this one already has a little bit of sweetness and I've added the honey, I'm just going to do a little bit right into our bowl. Pinch of black pepper. Now our secret ingredient, we would usually use peanut butter, but again, in a classroom setting, sunflower butter or any other type of nut butter is a great idea. It's very creamy, kind of similar to the texture of a natural peanut butter, so it'll pour and mix very well. I'm gonna use about a half of a cup. And you'll see it kind of pour out. I'm gonna squeeze the jar. Squeeze, 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 like you're giving a big hug. Sometimes if you're using peanut butter as well, if the peanut butter is really thick, you can warm it up in the microwave. That's a great way of making sure that you have enough. Great. And now I am going to use my tablespoon and help get this into our bowl. The last ingredient we would need for this sauce is a little bit of warm water to loosen it up, but we're gonna add that in right at the end. Great. So take your whisk and start mixing. Again, be very gentle. It may take a little bit for things to come together, but I promise you that they will. This is a great peanut dipping sauce to have for spring rolls. You can do this for also like egg rolls. This is a great stir fry sauce that you can make as well. As we see, everything's coming together and it does look a little weird, but it tastes really good. It's gonna get really creamy in a second here, so just keep on mixing. Once it starts to kind of look a little bit like this, a little dense, you wanna add a little bit of some water in. We want this to be somewhat of a looser sauce, so it's very easy and dippable. So keep whisking until you get a consistency a little bit like this. I'm just gonna add just a little bit more water. You'll see changes happen pretty quickly. Oh, this looks so good. I cannot wait to take a bite. It smells like toasted sesame, peanut buttery. Look at how rich and creamy this sauce is. A great dipping sauce. We're gonna put it right in the middle of our beautiful spring rolls. And here we go. These are our beautiful spring rolls, Vietnamese inspired spring rolls. If you have any ideas, questions, concerns, or you want to share your spring rolls with us, check out grymca.org. Thanks for hanging in there.